Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Okay, okay. Let me take that away. Put you over here. Okay, there we go. Uh, there we go. That's what I needed. So, the hot royal mess. Let me see who's here first. Lydia Washington is here first. Thank you very much for that. And okay. And anyway, welcome everybody else. I will say hello as I go along. Let me see here. So, check it out. Suits Rachel Harris says great co-star Meghan Markle happened to find a nice guy. Yes, Meghan Markle happened to find a nice guy. We all know that. We all know that. Anyway, while Rachel Harris and Meghan Markle didn't frequently cross paths on the set of Suits, the comedian still has nothing but positive memories of the now Duchess. I didn't get to do scenes with her. The one scene I did with her during Suits was when she got married. Harris exclusively told Us Weekly at the grounding 50th anniversary event in Los Angeles on Saturday, October 19th. It wasn't like she was already improvised her lines for the wedding, but she was great. Uh, what I loved about Megan is that I met her way before Suits, and she just wanted to live her dream and be a working actress. Harris recalls to us, that is Us Magazine, she succeeded at that, so it's just great that she happened to find a nice guy. In addition to thinking fondly about her time at Suits, Pearson, that is Person, and Lit, Spencer Pearson and Lit. Harris is also remembering her time as a member of the famed Grounding improv troupe. So is that like Second City? I've never heard of it before, but I'm guessing that's like Second City, where a lot of the people like Tina Fey and um, Amy, whatever her name is, and a whole bunch of people went through there. Even John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd, those are some names from the past. But if you know anything about the cast of Saturday Night Live, um, even did Will Ferrell go through Second City? Well, anyway, the improvisational theater is an excellent way to build your confidence and to express your humor and all that kind of stuff. And basically, it is spontaneous humor, no lines, and all that kind of stuff. So, I've never actually been to one of those performances before, but I hear that they can be a lot of fun and a lot of audience participation. Okay, moving on. Going from royal gowns to unique uniquequal. What is unique? Anyway, Claire Wade Keller's, who designed Meghan Markle's wedding dress, finds a different kind of luxury at mass market brands. So you might remember her as the one who designed that Givenchy gown that Meghan wore on her wedding day, the first gown. I think the second gown was Carolina Herrera, right? Anyway, it looks like who's here? Facts and Two Cents. Thank you so much for joining us. I am deeply, deeply honored that you are here. Thank you very much. In 2018, Miss Wade Keller first couture collection for Givenchy. is French. Givenchy. Her first ever foray into haute couture was critically acclaimed. Then came the dress scene around the world, a double bonded silk caddy gown with a bateau neckline worn by Miss Markle for the 2018 wedding to Prince Harry. The two women have remained close and share a beautiful friendship. Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, wrote in an email adding that she owns several of Miss Waite Keller's pieces, including a trench coat and several dresses. Her pieces for the brand have movement and modern grace, she wrote. So they're still friends. And yes, and that's how I think most people got to know her. So yes, Petal is here. Petal, we love you, and we're always here for you. Always here for you. You know that. Okay. Let me see. Was there anything else to that? Nope. I think that was it. Now, um, wait, did I? Oh, I'm sorry. I was still here. I switched it on the other screen. I didn't switch it for you guys. There it is. But I've just done that one. So let's see. Marcia Toll. Is it Tolls or Tollis? Thank you so much for joining us. Jules Ryder, Fancy Fancy. Mama Jane. All right. So look at what the cat dragged in, or should I say, look at what the byline investigate dragged in. Well, that lowlife had the nerves to put in his 2 cents today. Now, mind you, I do not follow him on Twitter, but someone else shared it. And so I'm sharing it with you. I did not give him any engagement, rather, but it's like 1983 again. Cancer stricken King Charles and Queen Camilla, the Queen Consort, are getting a rapturous welcome in Australia, dashing the Prime Minister Anthony Albanese's Republican hopes. The rude state premier who snubbed meeting their head of state should feel particularly stupid. Well, I don't know how stupid he's feeling right now, but I think someone who was in a prime position, had their own show on some failure of a network that routinely has to solicit money. I mean, they can't get enough sponsors, so they have to solicit money. Just about anything that Dan Wooten touch, he runs into the ground. But anyway, I digress. GB News star Dan Wooten unmasked in cash for something, images, catfish scandal, etc. According to the, I wonder how stupid he felt when that came out, huh? Or how about when we realized that Maria? How about when we realized that there was an alter ego known as Maria Joseph? Maria Joseph, was she trying to pass herself as being, I don't know, Latino or Italian or something like that? Why not Marisha? Why not be a Polish? Marisha Joseph, huh? How about that? Anyway, did she feel stupid when we found out about that? I wonder what else did she feel stupid? Oh, well, of course, she just was stupid all around. Um, and now she has become this big mouthpiece for Willie Leaks and Kitty. That's how there was a time when he had actually wrote an article, which of course started the whole thing. So I guess in a roundabout way, one of the things that they have done in the institution was use Harry and Meghan by, all of these briefs and leaks and such to try to cover up the trail that he exposed because of because of the thing that he started by mentioning Rose and the alleged situation right there. And so here he is with this groundbreaking piece that he wrote. And of course, everybody has gone on with their lives, but he's the one that has gone from a network broadcaster to a YouTuber. Now he's a YouTuber. Yeah, now he's just a. As a matter of fact, didn't they kick him off of YouTube and he had to go over to Rumble or Tumble or Fumble or something like that? Yeah, I think that things had gotten so bad for him that he had to go over to Fumble or Rumble or something. So yeah, let's just say Fumble. That sounds about like him. You know what, Legs? I can see you have something there, but for some reason, this screen seems to be stuck. It says I have 157 people here, although when I look at the YouTube screen, it says 695. So I cannot highlight that because I have not gone past this. I'm still right here. I'm still, I'm like about 10 minutes behind you guys on this screen. So tell you what, this is what I'm going to do. This is going to be really scary, but let's see if this works. Uh, let's see if this works. I'm going to try to, uh-oh. All right. I am going to try and open up another screen, and you might hear an echo right now. And I'm going to close out this one. So, okay, now I'm up to date. Okay, there we go. There we go. That worked. I was like several minutes, like about 15 minutes behind you all, and my screen was not advancing for StreamYard. So, by doing that little trick, I managed to get myself all caught up again. I like when things work out. So, let me go to Legs. Legs says, let's see, like Will in New York City or Beach, let me see, Block Street, show up to busy location to get pics. The boring, unpopular, leftover royals have no shame. Propaganda. Uh-oh. There we go. Here, 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 here. They try to make this big fuss. They use the weird camera angles. And how about that day that William was walking with whatever, I forgot what group it was that he was going to see or what little farce he was involved with. And there were people standing there with flowers for Kate, and he just ignored them and kept walking. It was unbelievable. He ignored them and just kept walking. He refused to accept the flowers for his wife. That was shady. Let's see. Van says, not surprised about Dan paying for it is the only way he can get some. He's creepy. He is creepy. I mean, just I think that he has really bad body image issues. and yeah, and that is the reason why he, he well, let's see. I'm going to allege, I'm not, in any way some what do you call it, psychologist or anything like that, but I think that anybody who's really attractive, male or female, he really has it in for him. He really has it in for him. And like some kind of psycho, he wants to torture them publicly. You understand what I'm saying? It's a very twisted thing that he has. I mean, if they ever said that they were excavating land in his childhood home and they found things, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. He really scares me. That is a frightening individual. He's like some kind of grinning assassin where he's always got that very disturbing smile, that grin. So yeah, that is one individual I would not be surprised. They just haven't found things yet. That's what I believe. It's just that they haven't found things yet, allegedly. Scary, scary. Okay, and then of course, Maria Joseph at one time was a little heavier. This is Maria before she found the Ozempics. Yeah. Maria Joseph actually found some Ozempics, and she was a little trimmer than what you see right here. But either way, she's shady. Uh, oh, okay. You picking up what I'm putting down, huh? You picking up what I'm putting down. And of course, there was this embarrassing moment where Maria Joseph slash Martin Branning slash Dan Wooten slash loser, sad little man, allegedly stole flowers from the memorial for Queen Elizabeth II, and then had this very bizarre rehearsal where he would pretend, he, she, we, they, them, would pretend as though they were placing the flowers, and when he, she, them, they, that didn't like the way they appeared on the cell phone or whatever, he kind of just he repeated it over and over again. Who does that? You just put them down. He wanted people to believe, because he has no conscience, right? He wanted people to believe that he was so distraught about the Queen that he went down there to pay. Yeah, right. Let's take a look at that.
Somebody drew a picture. Oh, that's sweet. How'd you guys do it? See there? Somebody drew a picture? No, but it's nice.
Now, was that an Oscar-worthy performance? Did you like the little head nod? He literally brought someone down there with him.
Somebody drew a picture? No, but it's nice.
Please tell me, what religion is Dan Wooten? What religion was that? I tell you what, I don't know what religion that was, but I wouldn't want to be around when he takes communion. Yuck.
And walk. Okay, put the flowers down. Thank you, Morrison's. Okay, time for that period of quiet reflection you were talking about. Look as if you're surreptitiously trying to work out how to scale the railings. Okay, that's about 6 seconds. Turn and go. Great stuff.
So we didn't know that Dan was an actor, did we? After all those takes over and over again, so that he actually tweeted, I bet he went to Buckingham Palace for quiet reflection. This man don't have any religion. There's nothing religious about him. I wouldn't want to be around when he tries to enter a house of worship. That could be detrimental to your health. Yeah, I would hate to be around when that happens. Okay, Lydia Washington says Karen Williams is asking for prayer as she recovers from spine surgery. Yes, that's very touchy, isn't it? Yes, well, Karen, be positive and just believe that they wouldn't have done the surgery if they wasn't sure that it would help. You have to be very positive of the outcome, and we will definitely keep you in our prayers. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And thank you, Lydia Washington. Yeah, we have to be more trusting of the medical science. Ask questions, get a second opinion if you like, but a lot of the healing and recovery is a positive mind, positive attitude, lots of prayer. I think that's very, very important. And, miracles happen. Miracles happen. So, yeah, I like to believe that they wouldn't want to do it if they weren't sure that it would be helpful. However, like I say, it's always good to ask questions. So, yes, and as Church Nellie has pointed out, make sure you get lots of make sure you get lots of remedies for the little aches and pains that no doubt is likely to happen. Yes, I'm in total agreement with that. Yep. So that troll on the left side is Arthur Edwards, and on the right side, that's that, what's his name? Matt Wilkinson. Another week, another video of Arthur Edwards reminiscing about a time when Harry pretended to like him for good press. By the way, this is a quote of one of the squatties that I chose not to identify. But It's getting beyond pathetic at this point. People in their 30s and 40s are millennials. They are not on the side of the royal family, Arthur. I love how they think the opinions of a couple of ardent royalists they spoke to are representative of Australians' feelings toward a couple that is completely inconsequential in their lives. Also, William and Catherine's side. Um, what side is that? The side that treated Harry's wife like crap and barely worked. The side that benefited from the racist character assassination of Meghan Markle. So I'm going to play that little soundbite for you. I hope you can hear it. It's not the best quality, but I'm going to play it for you. But it really, listen, you guys, it really is disturbing the way Arthur Edwards carry on. Somebody needs to tell him that that was 4 years ago when the Sussexes left. That they left 4 years ago. It is 2024. Nothing is going to be like it was. Life is not meant anyway. Let me just play the soundbite. Oh God, I'm so. Oh, okay. Let me just play it. This guy has a problem. I mean, he's not altogether there. He's not altogether there. Okay.
We don't kind of see this praise of his work. It often goes unheralded. He talks about young people there. I mean, a lot of younger people, maybe in Australia, look to the younger royals. How badly do you think it has been damaged at all, the reputation of the royals, what's happened with Harry and Meghan over the last 4 or 5 years, with everything that's been said and done? What's the feeling I get when I've been out? Honestly, I don't mind admitting it. I've been in quite a few pubs the last 5 or 6 days. I've met quite a few people, and they all want to ask me about certain roles. That's what happens when you're a royal journalist. Yeah. They say, what's the truth about this person? What's the truth about that person? And meeting ordinary Aussies, I found a lot of them have fallen massively out of favour with Harry and Meghan. Okay, I found that they were very much on William and Catherine's side, and I just wonder what the feeling you think from the Australians that you've met as to whether Harry and Meghan have damaged the kind of sparkle or the allure of the royal family in the last couple of years.
Well, I've been travelling around Australia this week, and I've talked to a few people, and of course, Harry and Meghan, they're not the number one on their list, but obviously, young people think Meghan is. I always believe that most people over 30 think that Harry and Meghan got it all wrong. People under 30 think she's been, they think she's lovely and think she's been victimised. Well, my view is that, Harry had his choice. He wrote that book, he made that documentary and interview, and it wasn't very nice. And you know what? It's sometimes just saying sorry isn't enough. I hope one day, I always say this, I've said it in everything I say and write, I hope one day Harry comes back to UK, rejoins the royal family, because he was a great asset. He thought he was only the spare, but my God, when he went anywhere, the crowds were huge. When he came here, I can remember him crossing that harbour in a boat, Harry, and people sort of the quayside lining up, looking at him, watching him. And when we were walking down Circular Quay and making kids laugh, and he was sensational. He did the fleet review here. I was on a boat with him, going down around the harbour. It was beautiful, his beautiful white uniform. Oh, it was just brilliant.
So there he is once again, reminiscing about how great Harry was. Yes, Meghan, she should have gave it more time. It's always the same thing. He is in a deep state of denial about what happened to the Sussexes. He's in a state of mourning for the good old days when he could count on Harry. Oh, Harry used to make coffee for us. After the tour, we would go for a beer and all that. You wouldn't, well, I don't think most people would have respect for Harry if he sat idly by and allowed his family to be abused. And that was the alternative to leaving. We all know this. The alternative was the abuse of his child and, of course, his wife, and eventually his children and his wife, and also the abuse of his mother in law. That was the exchange for staying, is constant abuse, constant slander and put downs and what is it, conspiracies and such. There were people within the royal household conspiring against them. Period. I wish this old turd would just let it go. Not for Harry's sake, not for my sake, not for anybody's sake except his own. This is like a whole nother level of lunacy. A whole nother level of lunacy. Time to let it go. And you know, in this conversation, he's being very, shall we say, um, neutral about his feelings about Meghan, right? He's being very neutral. Sometimes he's so full of contempt for Meghan and other times for Harry. I mean, he can be very catty when he wants to. I mean, shady, shady, shady. He can be very shady. This is the man who, out of the blue, was it a tweet? I believe it was a tweet where he said he believes that Camilla is much nicer than Diana. Nobody asked him that, but after spending the weekend with Charles and Camilla and sleeping over in one of the royal households, just out of the blue, he decides to drag Princess Diana, who, as we all know, is no longer here. Why would he do that? Why would he do that? Because it's all part of the narrative, the cautionary tale, as I like to say, or the word that we learned from Lady Sussex, Charles, and George, revisionist history. Revisionist history. They want to reimagine how things were. And that is what he's doing right now. He's ignoring the pain that Harry was going through. Because Harry was in pain doesn't mean that he was rude or impolite or anything like that. But we all know that Harry was suffering before Meghan got there. But he just soldiered on, assuming that this is the way life is. There's nothing else. I'm trapped in this system, and I just have to pretend otherwise, right? I have to pretend like I'm happy. Yes, they've run away this girl. They've run away that girl. They're tracking my friends, hacking my phone. But that's the cost of doing business, I guess. Was Harry ever that happy? I don't think so. He said so himself. Now, let's get to Fred and Gladys. That thing is so tired, her feet are turning in on her. That's how tired she is. Her feet are turning in on her. And let me just say this. They set up this scenario just in case there was not a good reception. They were going to have Camilla stay home and send Charles out by himself. But since they managed to get enough people in place, that's when they decided, okay, you should probably go to this particular thing. And of course, being as awkward as she is, the way she trundled down the reception line there, let me show you if I can. It's pretty pathetic, but then again, it wouldn't be her if it wasn't pathetic, would it? Very rude, very rude. Check it out. Okay, is that not taken? There we go. Here we go. Why are you not making eye contact? Why are you not looking at those people who gave up their Sunday to come out there and to stare into Medusa's space? They have come face to face with Medusa, and you got the caucasity to turn your head away from them. Now, there are some other reasons why that happens. Some people say, there's another explanation for it. Let me see if I can find it for you. And we discussed this the other day. Let me see if I can find that. But there may be a logical reason why she seemed to find it difficult to let's see. Nope, I don't think that one's it. Hold on a second. Let me try another one. A little shade, I think. A little shade. Oh, nope, that's not the one. Let me see. 18. Is it 18? No, let's try 17. Nope, not that one. Okay, so that's 18, that's 17. Let's go for number 19. I'm not finding it. But anyway, rumor has it that, you remember they said she was going to a spa? Remember they said she was going to a spa? Is that code for bar, pub, ale house? Is that code for some type of establishment that serves, beer or some tonic to steady one's nerves? But yeah, it has been alleged that that the trip to the spa was not actually a spa. It was a juke joint or something like that. Maybe she, went to some dive or something. The motorcade. Maybe the motorcade was instructed to, I guess, veer off and go someplace else for medicinal purposes. And yeah, and that's probably what happened, is that spa is actually code for something else. So, or as I like to say, is that what they're calling it today? Yeah, spy my behind. Spy my behind. She ain't going to no spy. I got your spy. But yeah, it you could not light a cigarette near her, is what they were saying. Now, I have no proof. I'm just saying that's what they say. And you know, they are never wrong. They were saying that she may have been, you know, fortified and barely able to complete sentences, let alone greet the crowd. I mean, you can see how awkward she was on her feet. And maybe that's why she don't like to travel that much, is because she don't want to be away from her stash. You know what I'm saying? So here's one of those reenactments, like those crime shows. Here's a little reenactment. Yes, there's nothing better than a state visit where one takes the time to sit around in their bra panties and their spanks and girdles and other things, and tie one on so that one is able so one is able to face the world as we know it. Now, I'm not saying that that happened for certain. I'm just saying that's what they say. I wasn't there. Um, but you know, I would imagine that for some of the people, the royalists who always wanted to see Queen Elizabeth, they thought that even though they ordered from Saks Fifth Avenue and Timu showed up, they would just make the best of it. You know what I mean? It's like ordering Saks Fifth Avenue and getting something from Timu. Queen Timu, you guys, Queen Timu. Now, did you notice what was missing from the reception line? Did you guys notice what was missing? Uh, oh, Maurice Brown. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to show you what was missing. Flowers. She barely got any flowers. Um, as far as I know, this was it. I mean, how did she make it through all those people and not one person presented her with flowers? Isn't that something? It's almost as though the whole thing was rushed at the last minute, that they found some way to gather enough people to make it seem like there was a crowd. Let's see. Leg says she chose kindness. You want them to turn into stone. Or a pillar of salt. Thank you, Legs. Yep. Or a pillar of salt. I mean, you know, there's television and then there's 4K. You know what I mean? There's television and then there's 4K. So, you know what I mean? There's 720, there's what's the next one after 720? Well, anyway, and then there's 4K. So, and I don't know about you, but when I get to 4K, I feel like I got to back up. I said back up. Anyway. Oh boy. Maybe they have some way to reanimate the few people, because you know, in a certain sector of any population, there are some people that are going to turn into stone or turn into a pillar of salt, and maybe they have some kind of remedy that reanimates people that become frozen in time. But and okay, here's some good news. There was no exploding pen today. Charles did not have an exploding pen. They made sure that they didn't put too much stuff on the table, causing him to have a complete meltdown. So, yeah, nobody got yelled at, or, he didn't have to grimace and make that face at anybody. So, all in all, it was a good day. So, listen, you guys, it's not about us, it's not about what we think. The people that were there that have always wanted to shake hands with the queen consort, or any royal for that matter, I'm glad that they had their day. I'm glad that they had a chance to meet the king and the queen consort. I'm not here to rain on anybody's parade. It ain't none of my business. um I drag them because of the way they treat my faves, and that's it. I don't have anything against them or for them or anything like that. Um, but I think they're two awful people, and I think they made a mockery of a house of worship by dragging their adulterous affair from one place to the next. I mean, this is the supreme governor of the Church of England, and what used to be his mistress, I still think is awful. It's disgusting. But again, I'm happy for the people that always wanted to meet those two riffraffs. Oh yeah, he he's learned his lesson. He's learned his lesson. Let's see right here. So Graham Smith, who has been trolling those two for the past week, he says, I can't imagine how many people it takes to forelock tugging Australian monarchist league very seriously. Being a staunch monarchist in the UK is fairly odd and represents a small minority, is even odder in Australia. And of course, he's clapping back at Cameron Walker, who has that horrible high pitched nasal sound when he talks. Um, Says an Australian monarchist has joked Republicans are vampires rising from the grave as the king and queen began their tour down under. You mean to tell me King Charles, who went to Germany looking like grandpa from the monsters, and his wife, to put it mildly, his wife, you mean to tell me you would say that the people that are Republicans are vampires? If they're vampires, what do you call Charles and Camilla? They're the ones that look like the undead. I'm sorry, but they're the ones that look like the undead. They're the ones that look like they just escaped a funeral parlor. Oh boy, I tell you. These monarchists, these sycophants, they just make up stuff. And of course, why Charles should call the bluff of these drongo, I don't know what that word means, and ungracious Aussies, and announce he'll quit as their head of state by the late Queen's biographer. So listen, you guys, what Charles did there seems on the surface very brave and very decisive. But let me tell you something. That is just what he says, a bluff. He's not calling their bluff in terms of go ahead, make my day, go become a republic. I don't care. It's not because he doesn't care. It's because the price of the referendum at a time of austerity could run up to 300 million Australian dollars, even upwards of 500 million Australian dollars. And the price of the referendum, if they had a referendum, the price of it would definitely impact the economy. It would impact the government spending, and no one has a stomach for it. Also, the reason why Charles is um, bluffing, the other reason why I say he's bluffing is because if you were to have a referendum, let's say tomorrow, chances are it's not going to work, because as soon as the referendum starts happening, soon as they get close to it, Charles is going to probably spend the night in the hospital, or he'll probably do something to drum up sympathy. You know what I'm saying? He will do something to garner enough sympathy that people will feel sorry for him, as they were very sympathetic to his mother, the global grandma. So, yeah, it would be bad timing. It would be very bad timing to try to call a referendum while he's suffering from what is reportedly cancer, right? Remember, it wasn't cancer and then it was. Same with Kate. It wasn't cancer until it was. They assured us that with the best possible medical care at their beck and call, that it wasn't cancer until it was. Fine. So that's all I'm saying, is that this so-called bluff, like he's Clint Eastwood or something, is just smoke and mirror. He knows that the expense of a referendum, especially on the heels of Brexit, there would be no appetite for something like this in any economy that is struggling post-pandemic. And he knows that. So it looks, like I say, it's very clever. I got to give it to him for, being clever, but they would not have a referendum uh, tomorrow or the next day or next week. And considering how much it costs, not likely in the future. Even the prime minister or president or whatever of Australia that has mentioned, time to become a republic, it's the cost of it that is prohibitive. And Charles knows that. So you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you still might find yourself just like the Godfather and wake up with a horse head in your bed. So woo! Yeah. Yep. You want to be so tough. Wait until you roll over and find out you got a horse head in your bed. Then we'll see who's tough. Yeah, for certain members of the royal family, they don't play God Save the King, or, they play something from the Churchill Downs, or okay, you guys, I'm being very silly right now. Let me move on. Okay, there we go. So King Charles makes relaxed start to Australian tour, but spends less than 10 minutes at lunch in his honor. After a day of rest, monarch appears at Sydney lunch in his honor and gives host an hourglass while joking about swift passage of time. That was awkward. That was awkward. I have to admit that was very awkward. It's almost as though it was a premonition of some sort. But let's see what that means. Now, take a look here on the right side. Hi, blank. Hope you're well. I'm with the news agency Storyful. Did you film the videos you posted from the protest? May we distribute your videos to our news partners with credit to you? If so, do you agree to storyful.com clearance? Thank you. And of course, this squatty, who I chose not to identify, was having none of it. They said, yes, I did film the video, and no, I do not give you permission for you to use or distribute my videos. I notice you're owned by Rupert Murdoch, and anyone associated with him is toxic and responsible for spreading misinformation. Did you get all that? Did you get all that? And what they're speaking about is the protest that took place yesterday. I actually shared those clips with you. And yeah, someone decided, oh, gee, that's interesting. We'd like to. No, no, no. I said no. Now, that's how you deal with the toxic British tabloid media or the Rupert Murdoch tabloid. That's how you deal with the tabloids. You tell them to go to hell. Quote, unquote, go to hell. Right? Love it. Love it, love it, love it. This is the banner on McLaren Street at the bottom of the church. You can see empire built on genocide. Yes, that goes for the United States, Canada, pretty much North and South America, really, isn't it? The Caribbean. All of it has the telltale signs of a genocide. It is what they use to build empires. Bring firearms, bring alcohol, disease. Let me see. What did they do with the Chinese? Opium, those kind of things. That's how you get rid of people. And then you stake a claim to the land. You give it a name that is in no way associated with the various indigenous tribes and cultures and civilizations. That is the history of the world for what, the past few hundred years or even further. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So these charm offensives are outdated. The idea of a royal tour, at some point, they're going to learn that the world has no appetite for what they have to offer. Again, I bear no ill will to people who are excited to meet Charles and Godzilla. I bear no ill will toward them. That's their affair. I mean, I myself went to Troop in the Colors. I saw the Queen go past and everything. To be honest with you, it was rather surreal. I mean, it's like, oh, that's the Queen. But mostly people were just quiet. You know what I'm saying? People waved and everything, but there was no massive cheer or anything like that. The Queen at that point was very stoic looking, so you didn't really feel entitled to be excited anyway. Of course, there was a lot of excitement for Harry and Meghan, and to a lesser extent, other members of the family. But yeah, it is what it is. It's more of a chance to say, "Oh, I've done this. You check it off the list. Oh, I stood in front of the Buckingham Palace. Oh, I went to the Eiffel Tower. That kind of thing. As a matter of fact, Deanna Vreeland once said, the best thing about London is Paris. She said that. She said the best thing about London is Paris. And I think they're both great cities. They're both great for their own reasons. But it doesn't mean just because people go to the UK, just because people tour this castle and that ruin or whatever, it doesn't mean that there's some type of affection or approval for the royal family. They are a curiosity. They are a novelty. That's it. It's like a whoopee cushion or something. Once you've done it, you've done it. But it doesn't inspire. It doesn't inspire. Inspiration left that family after Diana. And then it was picked up again with Harry and then with Meghan. Other than that, who inspires anybody from that family? Nobody. Nobody. You go get a bunch of kids, you get them tanked up on sweets or whatever, you put some flags in their hands, and of course, they're going to jump up and down. They're going to be like jumping beans. There's no magic to it. Here, have some cookies and orange juice. Now get out there and start waving that flag. Have a Pop-Tart. They're like little Energizer bunnies. Just give them sweets and they'll go out there and they'll do whatever you want. Easy. But it's not like there's some profound affection. The best evidence that I could give you is Kate's supposed alleged hospital stay. There were no flowers outside. There was no vigil. There was no one out there weeping. Kate. No, none of that. That was missing. It wasn't like they warned the public, oh, don't come down to this hospital because they didn't have to. Nobody was interested in the first place. No one was interested. No one was interested, and nobody cared. There was no vigil for Charles. None. I still think that's rather odd that there was no one outside the hospital. They were outside the hospital for Michael Jackson. They sit outside the hospital for a lot of people, but not that institution. They're not that important. They're like the wallpaper. They're a backdrop. You don't even notice it. And these are the protesters. You can see in the back there, there's a Palestinian flag. You see on the right side, they are protesting in the name of the First Nation people and Palestine. But the general theme is that of genocide. That is the general theme that they're protesting about. And there was audible booing that took place for Charles and Godzilla. You could barely hear it in some places, but I did. But of course, that Cameron Walker, he says, "Oh, you couldn't. They drowned out the boos." Well, that's because you're not standing where they're booing. You're standing with them. And of course, the protesters, as you can see, they have them around the corner. They have them boxed in back there around the corner there. See where they're standing? They're not really where their voices can project. That was deliberate. So, the I'm sorry, the SNP chief was forced to apologize over sickening posts attacking royals after Catherine's public appearance. Bio tweet came during Princess Cancer fight. Let me show you what's happening here. So this is Carol Beatty. Carol Beatty said some things via her tweet, I believe it was. The new SNP boss called for a French solution to the monarchy. Now that is pretty ominous. A French solution to the monarchy. Doesn't take a lot of imagination. Boy, I tell you, I felt a certain connection to the people of Scotland. I felt a certain connection to the people of Scotland. I did. I really felt a certain connection up there. I felt understood. But anyway, that's one of the things she said. The other is she went on to say that intelligent people don't support the monarchy, and those who do use them as symbols of their bigotry or xenophobic values. Wow. Okay. She said what she said. And then it goes on after the article praised the princess, saying that lesser mortals would have stayed at home, but Catherine had shown the show goes on. A June 16th tweet reads, F all the way off your gold-plated serfdom. Time for a French solution to monarchy and sycophantic journalists. Wow, she doubled down on that one. So, she's a feisty one. I have to say that she's a feisty one. And of course, I don't condone anything like what this implies, but I can't speak for her, so I don't know what we're supposed to extrapolate from those statements. However, it made some people very uncomfortable. So she apologized, I think, or whatever. And anyway, that was the end of it. You know, politics can be very emotional. Now, let's get to this slob. Inside urgent heart operation Jeremy Clarkson underwent while Grand Tour star reveals crap week as his dog also goes under the knife. Now, you know what? I told y'all about this yesterday, but I didn't mention the dog. You know, when the ancestors get all riled up, okay? When the ancient ancestors, the aunties of ancient times get riled up, any manner of maladies could happen. You know what I'm saying? TV icon Jeremy Clarkson has opened up about his mortality, fearing he hasn't got long to live after a recent health scare landed him in hospital. The star of Clarkson's Farm, age 64, who rose to fame as the presenter of Top Gear, which celebrates its 22nd year today, had a stark realization about his life expectancy during an interview with The Guardian. Boo effing who, okay? Boo effing who. Dare I say, a nastier human being has ever existed. I don't think there ever has been one. This is a filthy, nasty, cruel, awful, mean individual. And I wonder when his dog needed surgery, when he needed a procedure, did he think about some of the stuff that he's done in the past? I mean, he makes Princess Michael of Kent look like a nun. He makes her look like the choir. Um, what do you call it? The leader of the choir. Yeah, she looks like an altar boy or altar girl in comparison to Jeremy Clarkson. Jeremy Clarkson, I didn't have long left. Admission after opening up on health battle. Oh, that's really too bad. It really is. Um, but again, the ancestors. Jeremy Clarkson reveals he was days away from death before undergoing urgent heart operation. Again, I'm impressed that he has a heart because I wasn't sure he had one. I thought he just had what, readers, followers, or whatever. I didn't suspect he had a heart, but I guess if they say so, Jeremy Clarkson has revealed that he was days away from death before undergoing an urgent heart operation recently. Huh. That's what I said. Boo effing who. Um, take a look at this one from the past. Xander says Jeremy Clarkson casually uses the N word. If it was a word he loathes, why did he why did it slip so easily out of his mouth? You know who he also hates? Meghan on every cellular level. Similarly, her name seems to come out of his mouth too. Just a bit of food for thought. Yeah, that's Jeremy Clarkson. For those of you that are not from the UK, maybe you never watched Top Gear. This guy, he's great on television. He's not the easiest thing to look at, you know, but he's good at what he does, and he's a talented writer. And it's a shame. It's a shame that his character is so awful that he cannot conceal his contempt for people of color. And then, of course, there's the non apology. Oh dear, I'd rather put my foot in it. In a column I wrote about Meghan, I made a clumsy reference to a scene in Game of Thrones, and this has gone down badly with a great many people. I'm horrified to have caused so much hurt, and I shall be more careful in future. Where's the apology? And the tabloid media circled their wagons to lend him coverage and protection and claimed that that was an apology. They swore up and down that was an apology. It was a non apology. But I hope he had time to go through some quiet reflection like Martin Branning, or whatever handle they're using this week. I hope that they had some time to go through some quiet reflection to think of the hurt that they have caused. And it's not limited to Meghan. And I'm going to tell you why. The fact that he said those things or wrote those things, and for the most part, he was able to keep his job. And a lot of the gatekeepers, so called feminists, gatekeepers, rushed to his defense. Hasn't he been punished enough? Hasn't this gone on? And so on and so on, which is the same thing that they said for Philip Schofield, the same thing that they said for, let's see, who was the news guy that they finally let him go or whatever, the one that was the first to announce the Queen's death. They do that every time. There is an illness in the British mainstream, there is a illness where people get away with this stuff. Now, to be fair, there are members of parliament. There are, writers and a lot of people that do speak out. A lot of people of color that have spoken out. A lot of women within the parliament that have spoken out. But they fall on deaf ears. They fall on deaf ears because the vast majority of people either give tacit approval to it, they circle the wagons and defend it to the death, or they just don't care. They just don't care. Now, just this week, a guy that worked for the Bank of England, worked at a branch in the United States, and he lived in Florida. He and some of his neighbors terrorized a black teenager walking down the street. He was fired. We get a lot of stuff wrong in the United States, a lot of things. But yes, there are some people, especially police. There have been these occasions where they have managed to avoid persecution. But for the most part, especially someone who is making a six-figure salary, you're going to lose your job. You're going to lose your position. You're going to bring shame and humiliation to your family. Just like a lot of these kids going to these great schools, they literally ruin their futures being racist. And this is why this is so dangerous, because the fact that he was able to get away with this, how vulnerable does the average woman of color, and in particular, how vulnerable do Black women feel in the UK that something like this can go unpunished? Unpunished. He was punished in the US. He lost his gig at Amazon, but not over there. He didn't lose anything. Well, not much. He definitely should not have been writing for that newspaper anymore. But we're talking about the Sun. So there is no punishment. Dr. Chola says this tweet is an insult, gaslights, and disrespects on an epic level. Very British non-apology. Very British non-apology. Jeremy Clarkson laughs in our faces. Nothing will change for him. Those who support him, like Camilla, the palace, the British media, and powers that be, will applaud him for hatchet job on Meghan Markle. And that's exactly what happened. He received applause and praise. And for the most part, nothing happened. Very disgusting. The Sun apology doesn't mention Meghan Markle by name. So the person it violently racialized and dehumanized doesn't receive front page apology for his Jeremy Clarkson column. He keeps column, and Victoria Newton keeps job as editor. This is institutional gaslighting on an epic level. And of course, Victoria Newton, who you see down in the right corner, that's the one who said, back off Kate. That's the one who called Kensington Palace to see how Kate is doing, to see if Kate is okay, because the whole world was laughing at her. So for the people who like to say in the comment sections of Royal Sussex, oh, Harry and Meghan wouldn't like what you say. I don't care. I say what I say for everyone, not just for them. I don't want to meet Harry and Meghan, but I support them because it's bigger than just Harry and Meghan. What happened here makes every Black woman in the United Kingdom vulnerable because there was absolutely no punishment for this man. No punishment. He didn't lose a thing. And the son of the Queen consort has a column in the Daily Mail. And who does he go and visit? I showed you guys earlier this week. He goes and has a lunch with Jeremy Clarkson at his restaurant Diddley Squat to help him bolster the image of his restaurant. That was free advertisement from the son of the wife of the head of state. That was a kiss of approval. That was a public kiss of approval. Just like with where are you really from? When Susan Hussey approached Fulani and asked her where she was really from, and almost declared you can't be British because you're Black, in so many words. You can't be British. No, where are you really from? She telling this woman where she was born, but she wouldn't take that for an answer. No, where are you really from? Because you're not one of us. You're certainly not British. That's what she meant. Did Camilla apologize as the host of the event? Now, I don't have the unyielding good taste of a aristocrat, but I do know that if someone is made uncomfortable, let alone victimized at a party that you have thrown, a luncheon that you have thrown, as the host, is up to you to apologize. You're supposed to be the first person to apologize, followed by Susan Hussey. Am I right about that? I mean, I'm not Ms. Manners, but I think I have enough sense to know that yours, as the host, you're supposed to atone for whatever has gone wrong, especially in your presence, no less. Victoria Newton, the gatekeeper. She's a gatekeeper. She's not a feminist. Well, she calls herself a feminist. People would say that she's a feminist, but she's really not. She's really not. Because if you're a feminist and yet you allow another woman, seemingly because it's a woman of color, to be victimized by anyone in society, and you're not speaking out against it, you seem to give your approval of it, you're a gatekeeper. You facilitate Jeremy Clarkson's treachery. That's what she did. She facilitated Jeremy Clarkson's treachery, his racism. I mean, I could not imagine being a Black woman in a space and there's, let's say, 2, 3, 4 white men, whatever the number is, having just read this column, knowing that society will not protect me from what they're thinking, let alone what they're capable of. It almost happened to that kid in Florida. There was 4 white men who know full well that he lives in that neighborhood. But it was almost like a Emmett Till type of situation, very close to it, where one of the men's wife said that he approached her or said something to her or whatever the case may be. And he was nearly killed that day. He was nearly killed that day. That's pure evil. Pure evil. A teenager, a child. Fortunately, there are enough people. They're a silent majority. They're a silent majority. But this guy right here has no love for Jeremy Clarkson, or the son, or as he calls it, the scum. He says, look, I bumped into this. Well, look who I bumped into this morning. And of course, there's a cardboard cutout of guess who? Jeremy Clarkson. His name is Mike. His name is Mike. And I'm sure Mike speaks for the majority of the people in the UK. He does. The majority of people are not like that. But unfortunately, the majority is very silent. The majority goes about their business. The majority may not read everything or know everything, but in their heart, they're just like Mike. And they know a rat when they see one. So you have to believe that there's more good in this world than there is evil. It's just that the troublemakers, they seem to yell the loudest, and they seem to have the bigger presence, but that's all smoke and mirrors. That's really not the case. They're not the majority, and most people do not feel that way. Jeremy Clarkson's dreams of Meghan Markle paraded naked through the streets in vile rant. This was after attending a Christmas party with the Queen consort. He goes home and writes the filthiest thing he could think of and push send. Victoria Newton reads it and approves. End of story. The same Victoria Newton that was so concerned with how Kate's doing is the same Victoria Newton that approved this column. She's a horrible person. She's just as bad as he is, but actually she's worse because what she does is so covert. It's a very covert action that she takes against women, in particular, Black women. Very subversive. Jeremy Clarkson claims he doubts Meghan Markle's tears at Queen's funeral were real. I don't remember what the date was, but if it was during the period when Meghan was still in the United Kingdom, then that still puts her in a very vulnerable position, considering the sentiment that was going around at that particular time. And that is the daily and constant abuse of Harry and mostly Meghan during what was supposed to be a mourning period for Queen Elizabeth II. They used that as the moment to weaponize their hostility and just throw it out there in the pages of the papers, round the clock on television. It was the Queen's funeral. The Queen died. That was supposed to be the moment when the world said so long to someone 70 years of a non-consequential reign. But instead, he's got time to figure out whether Meghan was sincerely crying or not. That appears in the Sun, and it gets right past Victoria Newton, who was so concerned about Kate. That's right, Legs. Meghan had tears, and the rest of them raided the jewels. They raided the jewels. That, of course, is the column. Well, like I said, not everybody's like that. Now, before the Queen died, this person here, Paul Dwayne, says, "Thank you, Hero Cow," in response to the fact that somebody got smashed in the testicles by a renegade cow on their property. Now, I hesitate to think what was happening with the cow when the cow fought back. It doesn't seem like this guy finds it easy to get a date. I mean, look at the state of him. He looks like a hobo, a homeless person, a big sloppy mess. So, like I say, it can't be easy for him to get a date. Who knows? Who knows what the cow was trying to fend off at that time? I'm just saying. Amazon likely to part ways with Jeremy Clarkson after final commissioned show go to air grand tour. Host sent email apology to Harry and Meghan, which is a lie. There was no apology there. There was no apology. It was a non-apology. There she is. The Lady Sussex is in the house. Lady Sussex, thank you so much for joining us. Fantastic show today, which reminds me, you and Mystic, no, you know what? I'm gonna put both of those links in the community tab. But since you're here, I'm gonna put yours up there. Oh, no, that's not what I was trying to do, was it? Oh, okay, here we go. That's it. Great show today, you guys. Make sure you go over there and like and subscribe and always share. But I couldn't get enough of it and cannot wait for next week. But thank you so much for being here. Okay. Now, has Clarkson been canceled? God, I hope so. Now, I don't recall, but I do believe, let me see, Jeremy Clarkson fans fear he's being canceled in front of our eyes. ITV has no further comments to Who Wants to Be a Millionaire after next series as Amazon cancels press call for Clarkson's farm and amid. Yeah, so I think he lost the millionaire thing too. I think he lost this, and I think he lost his gig with Amazon. The point is, he's a very wealthy man, and if he never worked again, he'd be okay financially. But as I said, the ancestors, well, they were thinking, if we can't put a dent in your wallet, I'll let you fill in the blank. But yeah, if we can't put a hole in your wallet, well, we got something else for you. And of course, there's Jeremy Clarkson with well, it's like the like something demonic right there. It looks like three very demonic individuals all lined up together. You got Hoghead Pierce Morgan. And of course, I don't know what it is about Clarkson that reminds me of the American buffalo or the bison. And then, of course, the old crypt keeper himself. The undead. Uh, Rupert Murdoch. Yeah. That curious trio. All three of them. Pure evil. Now, you'd be forgiven to confuse Rupert Murdoch and Jeremy Clarkson. Now, I will say, I will give credit to Rupert Murdoch for being able to, go to the beach at age 92. I'm going to give him credit for that. Other than that, he's pure evil and the world don't need him. Okay. But the fact that Jeremy Clarkson, who at the time when this photo was taken may have been, 62 years old. I mean, his airbag is fully deployed. His airbag is fully deployed. Now, I don't know why I get the feeling that either he's in his 5th month of pregnancy or his liver is the size of a school bus. Yeah. Either he's in his 5th month of pregnancy or his liver is the size of the Hindenburg. Oh, the humanity. And he has the nerves to let his crack show. Don't nobody want to see that old wrinkled crack? Ugh. Ugh. I apologize to those who may follow with nightmares. And see, it must have been confusing to that guy right there. Do you know where I can find the Murdoch Smith wedding? That person does not need any introduction. The Grim Reaper is who he is. And maybe the reason why Jeremy Clarkson was having issues is that the Grim Reaper probably confused one for the other. You know what I'm saying? Maybe the Grim Reaper confused one for the other. And maybe he got confused about who he was supposed to go after. You know what I'm saying? But still, the last time anybody saw the Grim Reaper, he was wandering around looking for the Murdoch Smith wedding. Now, just so you know, in the underworld, they're an equal opportunity employer. Guess which one of these Grim Reapers is of African descent? Go ahead. Can you guess which one is of African descent? Can you guess which one is of African descent? Anybody? I'll give you a second. One of those Grim Reapers is African American, and the other is not. Yes, that's right. The one with the chair. The one with the chair. Yes, the one with the chair. But yeah, just so the Grim Reaper knows, I don't care which one you get first. I really don't care. They're both awful people, but it ain't up to me. It's the anointed time, not the appointed time. But either way, I I want the world to be a better place. That's it. Also, I've had this theory. Uh, Jeremy Clarkson wasn't always such a homely creature. As a child, Jeremy Clarkson wasn't exactly pretty, but he did look like a girl. And if I had to guess who his true parents are, I'm going to say it was Nancy Culp from the Beverly Hillbillies and Jim Neighbors from the Andy Griffith Show. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is the love child of Nancy Culp and Jim Neighbors. I stand by what I said. I said it before, and until anybody proves me wrong, I don't know who Jeremy Clarkson thinks his parents are, but I am reasonably certain that he is the love child, that he is the offspring of Miss Nancy Culp, aka Jane Hathaway, and Jim Neighbors, aka Gomer Pyle. Yes, until I know better. It would take two curious looking creatures like that to produce something as bizarre as Jeremy Clarkson. So, yep, I said what I said. Also, I have to say, I don't know if you all believe in Santa Claus, but I have major respect for Santa Claus because of what happened last year. Santa Claus obviously keeps up with the Twitter streets and decided to make a stop while he was passing by the Clarkson household. And to that, I am very, very grateful. And I hope that it happens again this year. So I'm going to give this to Santa Claus. And I heard him exclaim as he drove out of sight, I think he's a racist pig, so I'm going to crap down his chimney tonight. Anyway, you guys, one of the things they talked about on the Lady Sussex, the real life Cinderella, was revisionist history. And I found this on just searching for some images on Google. And what really struck me about this is that you can see it looks as though someone has taken an eraser, right? And take a look there. See how it blurs toward the end? This is a visual representation of what revisionist history is. It's when you take something that is, very cut and dry and, factual to most people's accounts, and you reimagine it. So the series The Crown is what you can refer to as revisionist history. So if you watch the link at the top of the chat, at some point they go into that. And it's something that I have been saying for a very long time, just like when I spoke about Arthur Edwards, why all of a sudden, out of the blue, that it dawns upon you that Camilla is much easier to get on with than Princess Diana. Why would you do that? Because that institution, on a daily basis, they're rewriting the history. They are going to try to build a legacy for Camilla. They're going to try to perpetuate a legacy for Charles. They're going to lean heavy into the Prince's Trust and all that stuff. They were doing it at the time of the coronation. All of that stuff about theirs is a love affair that's of the ages, and they were meant to be together. And they're showing photos of them staring into each other's eyes. And what happened after the coronation? They dropped Camilla at her house, and Charles went to his house. Now, is that some type of bargain or agreement? Was that some kind of quid pro quo? Was that some type of contract? You do XYZ and I will make you queen. Well, you do XYZ and I will deal with the press for you. I will put a wedge between your sons. I will help you throw Harry to the wolves, and I will feed Meghan to the wolves. That's what I mean by revisionist history. They have been doing it all along, and it's up to us to set the record straight. So when you see me go through my little receipts here and there, I want to be a constant reminder that this is the truth that they're trying to cover up. And I don't know that I can do a lot about it on my own. It's something that will require input from a lot of people. But they have already reimagined the events. And sadly, a friend of mine had pretty much bought into the crown. Oh, when this happened, I said, you know that is not an accurate depiction of the event. Well, yeah, but I said, it is not an accurate depiction of events, because if you go with the crown, William was this dutiful, stoic, very company man type of person, just always concerned about royal duty and his position. And Harry, every other scene, Harry appears out of the background, cracking a beer open, pouring a cocktail. That was deliberate. All of that was deliberate. Peter Morgan set the whole thing up. That was deliberate. Very little was said about all of the great things that Diana has done. But it always boils down to the cautionary tale. If you step away from this institution, if you show any dissension toward the status quo in this institution, then your life is going to fall apart. You will have no peace. And that is why I had to take a big step back and I had to think, was Edward VIII the monster that they said he was? Or is that revisionist history? We'll never know, because all the evidence has been provided by the institution. Just like when they show the Queen doing that salute, that wasn't to hurt the Queen, that was to reinforce the Duke of Windsor's fall from grace. I repeat, that wasn't to hurt the Queen, that was to reinforce the Duke of Windsor's fall from grace. You let them tell it, he had not a day's happiness once he left that institution. I don't know what the truth is, but I won't accept that institution's version. I'm definitely not going to accept the crown. It is all fiction. It's all fiction. And there's no truth to it. So, in the spirit of Lady Sussex, George, and Charles, what is revisionist history? Refers to the act of reinterpreting a historical event or narrative, often by introducing new evidence or perspectives. Remember what I said? New evidence. Oh, there's the queen doing that salute. Well, that came from, you know what I mean? Which can lead to a significantly different understanding of the past compared to the previously accepted view. It essentially means re examining historical accounts and potentially altering the established interpretation, sometimes with a political or ideological agenda behind it. Think about Louis Mountbatten. Why did the British government petition the United States government to pretty much delete, destroy the dossier on Louis Mountbatten? Why'd they do that? I mean, the history's out there. You see, AI is going to be weaponized against the history books. Trust and believe. They are going to weaponize AI just like they weaponize computers, the World Wide Web. When computers first came out, they said that it's going to be the great equalizer, that we're all going to have access to so much knowledge, more than the Library of Alexandria, more than the Congressional Library thingamajig, all of that stuff. And we could not be more confused because of the deliberate and purposeful injection of misinformation. Things have not gotten clearer, it's gotten worse. So keep your eyes open, because they own some stuff and they mean to confuse us. And if for no other reason, that's why that orange menace wants to get back to that White House, to clean up the mess, to clean up, to hide. They didn't have enough sense to do it the first time around. But believe me, you, if they ever get access to it again, God forbid, it's going to be such a haze over the city of Washington, D.C. That's going to be documents going up in flames throughout the night. Here's another example. I flunked a final history test because I don't know anything about Thomas Jefferson. I think I would have gotten a better mark in Texas. Now, if you don't get that reference, it has to do with the very conservative right-wing propagandists that actually produces the majority of the textbooks used around the United States. And over the years, slavery has gone from this awful crime against humanity to a big misunderstanding. As a matter of fact, they were helping us. If you could believe that. They have watered it down a lot. And so that's what the kid means by, I think I would have gotten a better mark in Texas, because Texas is ground zero for misinformation for grade school and high school kids. That's ground zero. The same way Rupert Murdoch and others have gone after the press, gone after these, legendary news organizations, so that they can be very credible as they confuse and deceive people. Well, in Texas, the whatever that book place is. Same thing. They got the huge market share of the textbooks so that it will be the history in their making, in their image, the way they want it to be, not the way it was. And one would say, well, we got the computer, we can Google and this and that. Like I said, you can't always trust that because they are going back and they're stripping away things. They're stripping away things. I don't know what there is to be done about it, but just so you're aware of it. That's why they got to get back to that White House. Because Trump wants to get rid of the Department of Education. He doesn't want a Department of Education. Revisionist history. Remember that. Revisionist history. Okay. Lastly, there is Nacho. I believe that's his mom, it said, and his daughter. Looks like they've gone to the opera. I don't know where that was, but he posted that on his Instagram. Yeah, very handsome looking family. Very handsome. So with that, you guys, I am done. Let me see. Okay, I'm just taking a look at a couple of your comments. I was on my soapbox, so I wasn't really paying much attention. If Princess William, if she makes it, if Wilma makes it. Yeah, the Project 2025. Absolutely. Okay, I'm just scrolling back a bit. Oh, what's that? Is serving to cause us all to re-examine all of these histories that we have been taught. Absolutely. Absolutely. They say the victor shall write the history. So the only anecdote is to not let them win. You know, when I was a kid, I wasn't much of a reader, and I remember the first time I went to Harlem, and I saw like one of those Afrocentric bookstores or whatever, and you know, unfortunately, we don't have so many of those places around anymore. But whoever owns those books, whoever has access to that, that is going to be a very vital part of the record. And even though I want to believe in the Library of Congress, it depends on who's controlling the Congress, doesn't it? It really will depend on who's controlling the Congress. So we have to make sure that we hang on to that stuff. Now I'm wishing I would have collected more books. Okay. Anyway, with that, you guys, love you. Thank you so much for joining us. I am going to say goodnight. Thank you, moderators, for keeping this a safe space. And for all of you that have memberships to Royal Sussex, thank you all very much for that. And let me see. How many shopping days is it to my birthday? I lose track. I don't be paying attention. I don't be thinking about that. My birthday is sometime in November. I don't remember. But anyway, I just know it's only a couple of weeks or something like that. But maybe 17 shopping days to my birthday? It ain't like Black Friday or anything like that, or what is that? I don't pay attention. You know what I'm saying? It's just another day. It's just what? 13 days? Really? See, I thought it was 18 or something. I told you I don't be paying attention to that. It's just another day. I don't do nothing special. Yeah. Well, Charles Bronson was born on November 3rd, and Anna Wintour. It's a couple of people I don't like to claim, but there's quite a few people, famous people that was born on that day. Yep. And I think they all a little bit weird. They all got that little weird about them. And of course, Dolph Lundgren. You remember the guy from the Rocky movie? He was born on November 3rd. Yep. Oh, thank you for being here, Heather. I really do appreciate it. Good night, soul brother. Oh, what is that? Now you know how embarrassed I get when I see the official Royal Sussex Amazon wish list pop up. I'm so embarrassed. I'm gonna get it out the way and just pin it up there at the top of the chat just to get it out the way. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna go. I guess we'll do Once Upon a Time. We'll do Once Upon a Time. Okay. And take that away. And all right. Cheers. Oh, you know what? I forgot I created a shortcut for that. All right. So much easier than before. There we go.